Let's go now to Washington. CNN's Eileen O'Connor standing by there. Eileen?
Well, Leon, I have a lot of details that we've gleaned from document checks and cross-checks of documents over the last few days as we've been getting information from law enforcement sources up and down the East Coast of the United States and all over the United States. First of all, let us start with Mohammed Atta. This is a man who many of these men are linked through. Mohammed Atta is listed on American Flight 11 from Boston to Los Angeles. American 11 was the first plane to hit the World Trade Center. He rented a car that was later found at Logan Airport. That is what put authorities onto him. He held U.S. and Egyptian driver's license. He had a passport that was the United Arab Emirates, but we are being told by officials in that government that he is not a citizen of that country. Law enforcement sources tell me that they are operating under the assumption that these UAE passports may well be false. There apparently is a big problem with that identification being false. His latest residence was in Coral Springs, Florida, and in Hamburg, Germany. And he attended flight schools at Huffman Aviation in Venice, Florida, Sim Center in Opa-locka, Florida. We were there yesterday. He also, according to sources, attended another flight school in Palm Beach and possibly an additional flight school to get some refresher courses very recently. Now, he is also linked to a man, two brothers, Walid al-Shari and Marwan al-Shari. Now, these are both men who would appear to be Saudi by their last name. This is a Saudi name that, in fact, is from a tribe that fought in Afghanistan in the 80s and 90s, which could bring you to a link to Osama bin Laden. Now, also, as you know, Osama bin Laden is originally of Saudi nationality. So this is where you're seeing the evidence that the United States government is saying they have linking this to Osama bin Laden. Now, the al-Sharis, we know from German authorities that Marwan al-Shari lived in Germany, in Hamburg, with Mohammed Atta. As I said, Mohammed Atta was listed on Flight 11, Boston to Los Angeles. But Marwan was listed on United 175. That was Boston to Los Angeles. That plane was the one that hit the second World Trade Center tower. Marwan attended those same flight schools along with Mohammed Atta. And as you know, his cousin, Walid, was also associated with these two men. He attended a flight school, Embry-Riddle University in Daytona Beach, another flight school. He was on board Flight 11 with Mohammed Atta. So we now know that the probable pilots of those two planes out of Boston all had extensive flight training in schools in Florida that the authorities have been working on. These are the alleged pilots. We don't know how many pilots might have been aboard the plane. All of these men listed here could have had the ability to fly those planes. Now, these men are also linked to some of the men on the list. For instance, another man named Al Omari, who is on the list, Abdul Rahman Alomari. He was linked to a flight school in Vero Beach. Police had gone to that flight school. It's called Flight Safety International. Neighbors have said that this man was at Flight Safety International. But a next-door neighbor of his, taken into custody for questioning, we know through his lawyer, has told the FBI that Al Omari is actually safe in Saudi Arabia and should be presenting himself to U.S. officials in that country. We were told he would be presenting himself yesterday. And they are claiming, those associates of Al Omari who are in custody, one associate of Al Omari, is claiming that all of this associating to them is a case of mistaken identity. So we must tell viewers that while there are names on this list, it could be that they are perhaps stolen identity. Leon?
All right, Eileen O'Connor, thank you very much. We're just beginning the process of gleaning through this information that's just now becoming available to us. Eileen O'Connor in Washington.